CIA is just a service provider for the president. So instead of thinking of them as CIA and the president, you have a bathroom. The plumber who works on your bathroom is a service provider for you. So what happens if the plumber starts giving you shit and doesn't want to plumb your bathroom anymore? What are you going to do?
You're fired.
I mean, come on. This dude was the face of The Apprentice. You think he's going to have a hard time saying, okay, you don't want to do what I tell you to do? I'm going to stop funding you and I'm going to find a replacement. What shook the American people, really what shook the international intelligence community, was when they realized how quickly they could be replaced.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right?
That is wow. That is crazy only because like that kind of applies to a lot of government or a lot of let's just go. Who else would you say that applies to, right? Like besides CIA, like FBI?
You name it, man. Like private law enforcement.
Yeah. You
got private prisons already, private education already, right? Like there is no government institution. The government has always been safe sitting on its ivory tower because it's hard to replace a long-term institution. So if you go all the way back to 9/11, right? September 11th, the day before September 11th, September 10th, 2001, CIA was basically free to do whatever it wanted to do. It didn't have any government oversight. It didn't have to report to anyone, right? It was an independent agency reporting directly to the president. Well, then September 11th happened. And then everybody started wondering, how did CIA miss this? And then in 2003, the 9/11 Commission was complete. And what they found is that CIA and FBI dropped the ball on this very important.
They had some type of info, right?
Correct. And the reason that they dropped the ball was because both of those two agencies weren't sharing information, and they were both still focused on this boogeyman of communism from the Cold War. So even though the Cold War ended in 1989, from 1989 to 2001, CIA had still not really changed the way it was doing operations. So now here is the introduction of Al-Qaeda, an international, transnational terrorist organization that just killed almost 3,000 Americans, right? The 9/11 Commission basically said, hey, CIA, FBI, and everybody in the intelligence community, you need to change the way you do business, and you need to change it immediately. And then the federal government was infused with trillions of dollars to make this change, this pivot to focus on terrorism. Well, guess who filled in that gap? It wasn't like you can hire 10,000 new government employees in a week, but you know what you can do? You can hire 10,000 corporate contractors in a week. And that's when Booz Allen and Khaki and all these other companies took off and basically became the foundation of private intelligence. So when Donald Trump took office in 2016, he already knew that whole infrastructure was in place. So now it's just a matter of taking money and directing it into the private sector instead of into the federal sector. You can do that with health and human services. There's private hospitals and public hospitals, private schools and public schools. You can do that in any industry. In the country of Argentina, they elected a new president. That president was elected on the promise that he was going to privatize every element of government.
Javier Milei, yeah.
People thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
6 months later, the dude's a fucking genius.
So fresh on. Freedom.